Do you know somebody with autism? Autism is much more common than most people think. About 1 in 100 people have autism. That's more than 700,000 in the UK alone. So chances are that someone you know, or work with, or love has the condition. What is autism? Autism is a lifelong developmental disability that affects how we communicate with and relate to others, and it affects how we make sense of the world around us. Lots of things that people take for granted, like body language and metaphors, can be confusing and alienating for us. Autism is a spectrum condition, so that whilst we all share certain difficulties, our autism will affect us in different ways. Some of us have been to university and hold down jobs, whilst others need a lifetime of specialist support. Asperger's syndrome is a form of autism. People with Asperger's syndrome are often of average or above average intelligence. They have fewer problems with speech, but may still have difficulties with understanding and processing language. What is autism like? For us, the world can be a confusing mass of people, events and places. Sometimes we struggle to make sense of the world, and this can make us anxious. Every person with autism is different. That's what makes it so difficult to understand. But some of the characteristics that we have include a love of routines, sensory issues such as noises or smells or light, and having special interests. Some of us experience difficulties in understanding and relating to other people, and having a social life can be that much harder for us. For some of us, for example, going to a party can be really hard because we don't know what's going to happen or who will be there, and it often gets too noisy, which can be upsetting. Other people with autism have trouble reading facial expressions, understanding jokes or sarcasm, or common phrases like break a leg. Even phrases people use every day like it's cool can be disorientating. You think they're asking you to turn the air conditioning off. Many people with autism don't look disabled. Parents of children with autism often say that people simply think their child is naughty, while we adults find that we are misunderstood. That is why it is called a hidden disability.
I read somewhere that in terms of like communication, humans communicating with other human beings, only 5% of communication is actually the words that are said. 85% is non-verbal with regards to like facial expressions, body language, and the other 10% is tone of voice. Now, my whole life, I can only ever be certain of that 5% that's actually said. The 10% tone of voice, I can sort of detect that. The 85% non-verbal is a misty fog. It's a haze. I don't know. I just don't know. So it's a case of just really focusing on the words, and I try to be as open and honest as I can with other people verbally, in the hope that they'll do that back to me so I can understand them. I suppose with Asperger syndrome, or with autism, we've got maybe a slightly different view of the world, a more simpler view of the world, if you like, because we're not because all like the non-verbal communication and all that kind of goes over our heads, we're very simplistic. It's like, if you say something, it must be true, because you've said it. Why would you lie? Why would anyone lie? It doesn't make sense to lie. The idea of being able to think, or be able to work out how other people are thinking, or what other people are thinking or feeling, without them telling you verbally, I can't get that, because surely, and I could be completely wrong, but surely it's completely impossible to know how someone else is thinking, because they're a different person. They're a completely different person. They've come from a different background, they've had a whole different life experience, so surely they're thinking differently. Surely not everyone's thinking the same. So if someone was to say, well, put yourself in their shoes, I would say, well, firstly, they won't fit. The likelihood is they won't fit. Secondly, is there is absolutely no way I can see things from their perspective, because I am not them. I don't think like them. They probably think a different way to me because they probably like Michael Bay and I don't. So surely that means that they think differently because they have different opinions on things. So.